Hello, my name is Ann Baker. I'm a certified nutrition therapist and lifestyle educator with a special expertise in diabetes prevention and prediabetes reversal. Today, I'm going to give you some statistics that may shock you about diabetes and prediabetes, but this information could potentially save lives. While we all hear about diabetes on the news, I bet you didn't realize that right now, at this very moment, almost 1 out of 4 people in America are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. According to the latest CDC statistics, 57 million Americans are pre-diabetic and 24 million are diabetic. Diabetes is sometimes called the silent killer because it can simmer for years undetected. All this time it can be damaging your heart, kidneys, eyes, and other organs. Too frequently, it is diagnosed later after significant damage has already been done. Unfortunately, this disease is accepted by many doctors as a simple part of the aging process. This silent killer is reaching an epidemic proportion. Did you know that in the next 24 hours, 2,200 people will be diagnosed with diabetes, over 500 people will die from diabetes, and almost 220 people will go blind or have an amputation because of this terrible disease. Sugar dysregulation, or diabetes, is now being linked to a number of other health complications, including heart disease, high blood pressure, nervous system damage, liver disease, and Alzheimer's. That's right, all of these conditions are thought to be related to poor blood sugar dysregulation. I know this is not something you may have heard before from your doctor, but this is true. Why is there such an epidemic of type 2 diabetes? While there's a genetic component to diabetes, people have full control about whether they get diabetes type 2 or not, simply by the choices they make in their diet and exercise. The core problem has to do with people's eating habits and the consequences that they include. Excessive weight, especially abdominal fat, lack of nutrients, and people eating junk food, processed food, and lack of exercise all contribute to diabetes. You can see how our food habits have changed over time just by looking at our sugar and grain consumption. It's almost a 40-fold increase in sugar alone. This is a drastic change from the way our grandparents ate. So where is all the sugar coming from? Here's a clue. Just look at the typical foods people eat and you'll see they all have high carbohydrate content, which can be as unhealthy as refined sugar if overeaten. Bad food habits induce stress and increase inflammation in the body, and this promotes all kinds of diseases. Junk food consumption and feedlot animal products, which comprise a good deal of the standard American diet, have increased our intake of refined sugar, sodium, and saturated fat. People who consume this sad diet generally eat few vegetables, little healthy fiber, and other foods in high key minerals, omega-3 fats, vitamins, antioxidants, and beneficial probiotic bacteria. The other side of the coin is the increase in portion size and calorie intake since the 1970s. Portion sizes used to be about half what they are today with our supersized portions. How have these changes in eating habits affected us? Well, let's look at our weight 20 years ago as illustrated in this map. Not even one state had a high obesity rate, and most had a less than 10% rate. Today, no state has an obesity rate below 10%, and most are over 25%. Why? In addition to the reasons already listed here, our healthcare system is not promoting prevention. Unfortunately, our current system is designed to diagnose a disease condition only after it is set in. It's only then our medical system intervenes to manage the disease. This is why experts are predicting America will go bankrupt with healthcare costs. We are already seeing the effect of a disease care system on companies and individuals. The status quo is not sustainable, especially when the CDC is predicting that if nothing changes, out of all infants born today, 1 out of 3 will become diabetic as adults in the future. The bad news, there's no silver bullet to solve this problem. But the good news is that diabetes is nearly 100% preventable because it's actually a lifestyle disease. Let's analyze the progression of diabetes. As we said, for most people, it starts with bad eating habits that result in excess weight and nutritional deficiencies. Over time, this leads to insulin resistance, where people start noticing high levels of blood glucose resulting from defects in insulin production and receptor sensitivity that cause sugar to build up in the body. In conjunction with these changes, people start noticing elevated lipid levels such as triglycerides and LDL cholesterol. Now remember, cholesterol problems are actually a blood sugar dysregulation problem. However, years before people are diagnosed with diabetes, they are in a pre-diabetic zone. But what's crazy about our current healthcare system is that the typical physician will monitor elevated blood sugar levels and wait for people to become diabetic and then begin giving them medication. Unfortunately, this is precisely the time when intervening with nutrition and lifestyle changes could make all the difference in someone not becoming a diabetic. But this early detection rarely happens. And what is even worse is that for about 90% of people who do become diabetic and go on to conventional care and diabetic medication, the complications are not prevented. So what is conventional care for diabetes and prediabetes? Some will be prescribed high blood pressure medications or statin drugs. Once diabetic, people are put on certain diabetic medication and recommended an eating plan that is useless and in fact can even be dangerous for people with diabetes. These steps do not get the condition under control. Under 12% of diabetics being treated with medication have their blood pressure, blood sugars, and cholesterol under control using these methods. The simplest way to beat this disease is to prevent it. This was proven in 2001 in a landmark study that showed prediabetics can prevent becoming diabetic with weight management, correct eating habits, and regular exercise. In other words, lifestyle and diet modification are the answer. The key is to catch these trends early and intervene. The easiest way to determine if you are pre-diabetic is to answer a questionnaire available with this presentation that will highlight the probability of prediabetes. So how can prediabetes be reversed? First, we need to get rid of abdominal fat as it drives metabolic syndrome. People will then see immediate changes as damaging inflammatory chemicals released by fat cells are reduced. People also need to learn healthy food habits. This means eating 3 times a day, eating fruits, vegetables, and fiber in combination with protein, which gives the body crucial amino acids needed to build muscle instead of fat. Reversal of prediabetes also means switching from eating junk food to eating real, nutritious whole food, just like our ancestors ate. The nutritional deficiencies are important too because people who are pre-diabetic are deficient in zinc, chromium, and magnesium, and they're also low in essential fatty acids. Exercise is always recommended, even if it's just walking for 20 minutes a day. To make all of this possible, a structured system needs to be used. My system works like this. I have people eat according to a meal plan that puts their body into biochemical state to burn excess fat, especially abdominal fat, while not having any hunger. In between meals, a nutritional snack is then taken to prevent any cravings, as people will be on an elimination diet. There is one program for men and a different one for women. 7 different meal plans are provided so that you have a variety of suggested breakfasts, lunches, and dinners to choose from, and you don't get bored. If the suggestion of 60 grams of beef or the 35 grams of spinach for dinner is not to your fancy, you'll have a simple way of substituting the protein or carb as shown here. A 4-page symptoms questionnaire is completed before this eating plan is started, and the same questionnaire is completed at the end of 3 weeks. Here are the 14 health conditions we will evaluate using this questionnaire. The results of the questionnaire may show 4 severes, 6 moderates, and 4 mild conditions. However, the challenge is to know the root cause of the symptoms, as they could be due to many things, such as bad food habits, excessive weight, nutritional deficiencies, or a chronic condition. As you go on an elimination diet and lose excess fat, the changes in the responses to the same questionnaire 3 weeks later can give a great deal of insight as to the root cause of your symptoms. The new results may now change from 1 severe, 2 moderate, 4 mild. To a trained specialist, this provides a wonderful insight into the root cause of your symptoms and a roadmap on steps needed to prevent diabetes and promote wellness. All of this information will be provided and explained to you at the end of 3 weeks, where an action plan is provided to cover next steps in your wellness program. Such as abdominal fat status and how much more weight needs to be lost, blood sugar support needs if unhealthy eating habits are resumed, existence of potential food sensitivities or allergies that may need to be addressed, possibility of chronic conditions that need attention, correcting nutritional deficiencies to prevent chronic conditions from developing, and a host of other important wellness markers that can be explained during our first consultation appointment. Keep in mind that if these wellness markers are ignored and lifestyle changes are not made to intervene, over time they will become disease conditions. This is precisely where we find ourselves now as a nation, where our diabetic epidemic is costing America $174 billion a year, all because people are waiting to become diabetic instead of preventing it. I hope you can see how important this wellness screening is and how it can help you to flag potential health risks now so you can take action to prevent diabetes in the future. The greatest gift of health you can give yourself is determine if you are pre-diabetic, and if so, take the required steps needed to reverse this dangerous condition before it's too late. As an added benefit of this program, you too can experience weight loss, increased energy, better sleep, and overall improved wellness. Thank you again for listening. To learn more about diabetes prevention and to get started on the program, give me a call at 248-891-5215 so I can help you take control of your health using this simple lifestyle change program.